We have another story I want to talk about why DeSantis approaching this woke stuff is so important. We have this story here from Daily Mail. This is an ongoing saga about a transgender swimmer demolishing female records. The Daily Mail reports exclusive, the integrity of women's sports is at stake. Distressed parents of UPenn swimmers pen poignant letter demanding the NCAA change rules that have permitted transgender athlete Leah Thomas to dominate the competition.
Good for those parents.
Good for those parents, especially.
Seriously.
So I think the issue right here, right now, I don't take issue with on the surface with Leah Thomas competing because the rules were set and people did not participate in the rule changes or what was going on.
But were they even aware?
That's their fault.
So.
Yep.
I don't know, though. I understand what you're saying, and as somebody who's super duper involved, there's still stuff that's happening that I'm unaware of, and I'm a political nerd that's like in stuff all the time.
How many years have we been talking about this? And
yeah, but do you think that these UPenn parents listen to you?
Some of them probably.
Maybe. Sure hope so. It should be. But I think that you can't assume that. I think it is a wrong assumption to take that the average parent who is working 2 jobs to send their kid to UPenn is really aware of, oh, hey, the NCAA changed rules. That's interesting. You know that the left is so good at sneaking this shit in. And they do it all the time.
I don't think most cops know all the laws.
Sure. That's besides the point. Look, if you are a parent and you are dedicating, you are talking about the lives of your children, and you are like, I'm going to send you to a school and I don't know what the rules are. I don't know when the meetings are. I don't know the rule changes are happening. Then I feel like you are being negligent.
But these weren't UPenn changes. These were NCAA changes. I need to find this out because I would be curious to know, was it public? And no, because stuff like this happens in darkness.
They should have immediately, the moment they went into that swim meet or whatever, that race.
And there was a dude there.
And they just said, nope, we're not doing this. What's going on? And they didn't. They said, just compete anyway. And these female swimmers are not standing up and speaking out. They're just giving anonymous comments. If you're not going to stand up for yourself, if you're not going to speak out about this, and if you are a parent who doesn't know, look, when it comes to the NCAA, we're talking about your child's future. We're talking about how you have been coaching your child and putting them in a program to make them the best of the best in whatever sport they're engaged in, and you don't know about what's going on. I'm sorry, after how many years has it been that we've been having these conversations? You still don't know? Negligence.
But at this point, isn't it the parent? They're adults now, these students.
That's
they're
right.
Not the parents' responsibility anymore. I think that's
true.
But it's the parents' dollars, right?
Yeah. Maybe.
And maybe in this condition.
Unless they took out a loan.
$80,000. Take a look.
That's insane.
Everybody is scared, the mom added. Parents are also scared the kids will be harmed. We are paying $80,000 for this school. Their life will be impacted.
Yep.
That wouldn't be the case if you would just stand up and say no. But we've had three female swimmers come out anonymously and be like, we don't like this.
But let's future trip here a little bit. What happens then? Because I'm definitely a person that I'm fine with standing up and saying, no, I am the person. I've dug my political grave. I will lie in it. But part of what I do is I feel like I have to be, and I am representative of women in STEM and in Hollywood and in fashion and in finance who will legitimately lose everything if they speak up and say no. And I think that you are now, especially yay for Virginia with the Youngkin situation, seeing people that are saying, okay, especially when it comes to our kids, enough is enough. I think that for these parents, you can't underestimate that them writing a letter to the administration that could behind the scenes or very publicly, much to the cheering of the SJWs
years.
of the world. How many years though, Tim?
It's been going on for a decade. Over
Really?
a decade. Joe
Yes,
Rogan
it has been going on for
on his
but
show.
not publicly.
Joe Rogan on his show, and this is back in 2012, talked about Fallon Fox crushing a woman's skull in an MMA ring. Joe Rogan is the biggest podcast in the world. This is mainstream, and these parents there is no way you will ever convince me they didn't know this was happening. The only reason they're speaking up now in this letter is because it's finally impacting them, and now they have to say something.
But that's most people. Most people don't say or do anything. Like those women in Virginia, once again, that voted for Youngkin, that also voted for Joe Biden, they flipped in the last 2 weeks because it affected them. That's just human nature, and I don't think that you're going to change that. And I don't think that we're going to win people to do more of this if we're just telling them that they're negligent parents.
They are negligent parents. When their kids have been training throughout high school and now entering college, and they were like, don't worry, we'll keep our heads down. Let me explain. When Benjamin Franklin said, those who would give up their freedoms for temporary security deserve neither and will lose both. myth that doesn't just apply to the government. It exists in every facet. These people who think I'll keep my head down and scrape by, you are sacrificing your principles. You are sacrificing the future for your children.
See, I don't-
And now when it comes, now you think, hold on, you think I'm gonna allocate resources in defense of people who knew this was going on. It's been going on for a decade, and they are now saying, oh no, now my kids are losing races? Sorry, Leah Thomas has abided by all of the rules, undergoing a year of hormone treatment so that she could qualify for this. And where were the parents to come out and say no to this? Oh, I'm sorry, you're saying the parents weren't paying attention to the rules that they were putting their kids into?
I'm saying that could be option A. Option B could just be they think this too shall pass. I think that there is an element of people, especially over the age of like 40, 45 in this country, that are like, it didn't used to be this way. This ain't going to be a thing. This will go away. And that now they're waking up and realizing, oh, this ain't going away and we need to do something.
So I respect the letter. Absolutely 100%. The parents who are coming out now being like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
We're scared. We're
and
spending
I
money on
wish
this.
the female athletes would speak up. If I would totally wish they would, but I get that everyone's cost benefit analysis is different. And if these girls go on and start a gaming company and are actually legitimate, successful, real feminist business owners that don't discriminate against people and have intellectual like diversity at their companies, amazing. They have to like think about the ends here before they say something. And I don't
and this is why the
want
right
to undermine people for doing
and this
that.
is why the moderates, independents, the libertarian types are losing culturally, or at least have been for some time, because the left is willing to go scorched earth. They'll literally send shock troops with crowbars and Molotov cocktails to get what they want. They will put their names on giant signs and say, this is who I am and I refuse. When they go to work, there was one person who went to Taco Bell working there and wore a Black Lives Matter mask. And the boss said, you can't wear that, it's political. And they said, I'm wearing it or I'm quitting. And they said, you're fired. He said, fine. Took a picture, posted it online. The entire left rallied around him, got his job back, and forced the company to bend its knee. The right just says, but I got to think about feeding my kids in the future, so I'm not going to engage in this, and they lose.
I agree with most of that. I just think that you have to be understanding of the people that have to feed their kids and don't want to lose their future. And so we need to be more organized. We need to be better at a narrative, and we need to be understanding that emotional stories and emotional examples can kind of engage people and get them in, and then you can fill them with facts and encourage them to speak up.
Well, sure. But where this attitude that I've heard of consistently over the past few years of, if I speak up, I could lose my job, and how do I feed my kids? And I'm like, have you looked at the cost of cereal? It's going up 20%. Have you looked at the wholesale inflation's up nearly 10%, the fastest on record. Consumer price increases are up at a 40-year high. Inflation is about to run away. They've printed, 30 to 40% of all U.S. dollars in the past year and a half.
Yep.
And people keep saying, but I got to make sure there's food for my kids. Yo, if you keep complying with this, you're not going to have anything for your kids.
And I'm saying this is where you and the Joes and the Bens and the Rogans of the world can give these people then the talking points and the encouragement that they need to actually say something. Because I think especially for women, we totally like second guess ourselves. And we are like, did that happen? Did that happen? Oh, I don't know. Did the teacher really say that? Like, did that kid really say that to my kid? And like, should I say something? Well, I don't know. I don't want to lose a friend and all this stuff. And we are like in the moment of just life that we think that we don't have the voice and are afraid that we don't have. I get told this all the time by people, specifically women, that are like, I feel like I can't say what you say because I won't sound as good saying it. And I'm like, I don't even say it that good. I don't know what y'all are talking about. But I think that people like us have to use our voices and give these people the talking points and the help that they need to go scorched earth and to show it to the companies that we're not going to put up with this anymore.
I agree with that. The challenge is if the lowest tier of Antifa and the leftists, random people on the internet, are willing to plaster their names, their sacred honor, and their families behind their principles, and the other side, the independent libertarian types, are not willing to do that, then it's clear which side is going to dominate the culture war.
Yeah, but are they really? I see lots of like empty Twitter faces and profiles that tweet major companies, trying to get them to stop.
And they wear masks and they have strategy.
Yeah.
But these are people who are willing to go out on January 20th, 2017 and burn and torch vehicles and smash windows. And when they got arrested, institutional powers that they've organized
Yep.
got them all released, except for
Yep.
those who pled guilty ignorantly. And then you look at what happens with, as a right-wing group can walk outside for a march holding up signs saying peace and love, and they'll say it's a far-right Nazi rally. So these people have ceded that power to the establishment media. They're not working in these industries. And look, if you're not willing to engage, and I will point this out too. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the left has the high ground because they have the
Absolutely.
media.
Yeah, and that's why we have to be smart.
And absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They don't
But-
just have the media though. They have all of the other industries
Universities.
in which I mentioned that scared women message me every day.
Right.
STEM, education, fashion,
But
finance.
So while I recognize there are some strategic limits.
Yep.
What do you think would have happened if, as soon as this race, so this Leah Thomas won the race by over 38 seconds compared to the next fastest rival?
Like-
when I was watching a video of this, I saw people swimming the wrong way, and I was confused because I've watched swimming before. I've watched Olympic
yeah, you're like,
races.
oh,
and stuff.
didn't they all dive off the same?
And then they go back and they go back and they go back. And I'm like, why is this person going back? Oh, they're just out lapping the other people.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep.
Full
I mean,
lap.
'cause
What do you think
is-
would have happened? What do you think would have happened if all of the women who were there refused to race?
Oh, they probably would have been kicked out of school. That's my assumption.
You think that the schools would have been like, you're not racing, you're kicked out?
I think
No, I
so.
think they would have been like, there's no race.
I think there's no race, but then all the SJWs and all of the woke people on Twitter and all of the corporations that maybe sponsor the team and any of the coaches or the medical staff or, the groups on campus, the LGBTQ groups would have outed those girls and made their lives miserable. And if they weren't kicked out by the administration, they would have been scared to ever set foot on that campus again.
Well, then they deserve
That's what
to
would have
lose.
happened.
They deserve to lose. Absolutely.
Well,
if you are unwilling to sacrifice and take personal responsibility for your future and for what you believe in, then you don't deserve it.
And I hope that I'm raising my girls. Our motto every day is to be strong, sweet, and smart, that they have the independence and the forethought and the inner strength to do what is right. But I think that ostracizing people by belittling the small steps that they're willing to take and saying, well, you're not risking enough, is not going to win more people to our side either.
They're unwilling to stand up for what they believe in.
This letter for them is like what they're willing.
The parents aren't the adult. Ian made a good point. These
Yeah.
people are competing are adults. They're
Right.
responsible
Yeah.
for themselves. If you're, look,
But money talks. So if the
it's-
parents are the ones paying $80,000 a year, really the parents saying something maybe makes more of a difference than the girls saying, I'm not going to swim.
there are so many people, when you were mentioning, it's like, you said me, Joe, Ben, and people who speak up and,
Yeah.
and bring these things up. If you're going to sit back and say someone else will do it for me, I guarantee you will lose.
Oh, absolutely. And that's literally what I spend every day is like, I am here to speak for a lot of people, but like we need more of us and we need more average people. And there is strength in numbers.
So it's hard for me to be look, so my personal opinion is there should be a women's, a female division, and then there's a male division. And maybe we do a trans division where, it can be mixed. But right now, if the rules were changed.
But by the way, sorry, sidebar. If you're a woman that is transitioning to a man, you're still not going to beat the man that's transitioning to a woman.
No,
so
I
there
disagree
shouldn't
with
be a
that.
trans division. There's no way.
I was just thinking the same thing.
There's no way.
Trans
Biologically,
women will
there's no
obliterate
way. If-
trans
that's
men.
not true. I think.
Really?
So, are you familiar with Mac Beggs?
No.
This is the biological female who started transitioning to become male. Testosterone ends up with broad shoulders,
Yeah.
muscle mass, and all that stuff. When you I think there's obviously going to be some research into this, but it is true that biological males who undergo hormone therapy do have reduced muscle mass and stamina, endurance, etc. And then females who undergo hormone
course.
therapy gain it. So there might be, a median.
I
at
don't
some
think
point.
so. I think genetically and naturally, there are so many scientific differences that are just in our bodies as men and women in those like two sexes that there can't be. I don't think there could be like a transgender.
height is one.
Regardless,
Height
and
is
that's
huge.
and that's true. But we
Hands,
have height divisions.
cellulite, muscles, like
And
your
if
body,
we
like your bone
and
density,
if we create a
like
new,
everything.
And if we create a new division that people can choose to enter, then they're free to choose to enter it or not.
I'm okay with that. Sure.
Yeah. So
If it is a public school, I think unfortunately this is going to start coming over to, much like they did with the gay marriage thing, and sex education and CRT. It's going to start inkling its way, if it hasn't already, and I think in some places it has, into religious schools as well.
I want to give a shout out to Clifton Duncan, who
Yeah.
tweeted something I think is really great. He said, "My contempt for COVIDians has been surpassed by my contempt for people who know something is wrong and stay silent." And I was like, yep. But what ends up happening is when people are unwilling, and outside of the issue of these schools, we'll move on from that. When people are unwilling to stand up for any of these issues, what you end up with hyper individualism. People
Yes.
basically saying, if no one else is willing to rally and defend this, I'm on my own. I'm going to stay on my own.
Well, but that can be so, once again, like going back to how women are so different than men, that anxiety and that isolation can be so paralyzing. And I think that all it takes is I would just tell anybody, like, just find a person that agrees with you on something. You don't have to, clearly, you and I don't agree on everything, but I hope we walk away friends after this.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And we're going to like fight the cause together after this, right? Because we agree on the majority of things that need to be done to make the country a better place and to keep it the greatest nation in the world. And so I think that people, you're right, they become lackadaisical and they become lazy and they become isolationists in a sense because they think that they are all alone in their thinking and they don't see anyone else speaking up. And so I just want to encourage more parents and more swimmers and more everybody to speak up in any way that you possibly can, because then more of those voices make a difference.
Yes.
Like, look at all those incredible parents that were like, I'm going to go to my local school board meeting.
Yep.
And that made an
winning.
impact. And they're winning.
Yeah.
And we need more of them.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Now, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.